Yeah. You know what is the scary thing for me every year? When here in normally I receive my development work in July and I have to create the next year's folder. You know, this year creating a 2026 folder in July, you sort of think, what the heck is going on here? Life can't be this crazy. So you have a 2026 folder, Ebakazi. I'm so sorry. I mean, we haven't even got through this year. It's insane. Yeah. Yeah, and it's going to be interesting. And every year, I have to take decisions on what my next year will be. Um, and you start taking those decisions early in the year. And I hate the idea of living my life away because I'm working in the future all the time. Why would I, if we are going to do a presentation and start tonight's lecture on charismatic leadership, have that man there? The guy kissing him is his son, so don't worry about it. It's not some sort of reveal. Why would I have that man? Hi, Lunga. Well, that's exactly why I shared it, because I've noticed that people are taking strain. And I mean, the idea of finding time to exercise. I, I used to be in such amazing shape. I mean, at some point, I looked like a freaking athlete. And I've put on some weight, and it bothers me immensely. It really bothers me. So I'm trying to find 2 hours a night now. So after Yeah, no, well, he's worked hard. I mean, he is in his mid 70s now, I would imagine. Well, he's taken real challenges on. Absolutely, Muzamil. Well, I still hit hikes, so I'm not as old as him, but I still hit hikes, and I still hike at a very fast pace. I'll admit that. 25% extra. No, sorry, inflation, 30% extra. Yeah, I think for me, I did share this article because I thought, in terms of where we are in the semester, and I need to say that where we are in the world, I think it's time, despite how incredibly charismatic this individual is, we learn from these individuals, because there are a couple of things that stand out for me, in terms of Branson, and it's the fact that he will take on new things. How's it, Cindy? He will take on new things. He will try new things. If you look at how highly diversified Virgin is as an organization, this is an impressive man. And also is happy to tell you that he never, how's it, Vishay, never ever finished school and left school at 16 and started the student magazine, and the rest is history. So when we look at charismatic leadership, there are a couple of things that we need to remember. And I've got to be very careful with some of this stuff, because I think sometimes we tend to think that charismatic leadership is something very positive, but we also have to remember that there is the dark side to charismatic leadership, and I will share some of those. And oh my gosh, I teach so many of these courses that I'm worried that I might have shared it with you already. So a charismatic leader, and Mandela was described as a charismatic leader, um, is a person who as this energy field that surrounds them. Being in their presence has this ability to motivate, to inspire, to excite, and then also to get people to do and perform beyond what they believe they can be capable of. So there are a couple of things in terms of charisma and the definition of that. And it's an interesting definition, the sort of divinely inspired gift. So the suggestion is that charismatic leaders are born. You cannot make someone charismatic that is not naturally charismatic. I think for me, you can, yeah, I met a student yesterday who asked me to contact another student. And in his entire time when he studied with me, all he ever wanted to be was cool. The kind of, almost want to say Johnny Depp type cool. And he couldn't fake it because there's certain things you can't fake. You can't fake being cool and you can't fake being charismatic. It's as simple as that. It's not one of those things that you teach somebody. So, from a Max Weber perspective, I think it is this term that we look at. So, it is about your personality. It is about something extraordinary in your personality, but also I think it has very little to do with the position you hold, or any of those traditional theories around leadership. There are a couple of things that we need to consider when we look at charismatic leadership. I think the first one is to look at the different approaches. Please give me a fraction of a. So the first lot is the behavioral approach. We'll look at the attributional approach, how we attribute certain behaviors to leaders, and then also what those individuals or charismatic individuals do to followers. So, in terms of the behavioral approach, there's certain things that stand out from a behavior perspective. The first one is that these individuals are seen as competent, as seen as intelligent, as seen as understanding the business. But also added to that is the ability to walk the talk. It is the kind of person that you look up to that can inspire. The second one is that there's always going to be a very, very clear goal, but also a goal supported by clear supporting motivation and building some sort of plan towards that goal. And you can see the kinds of interactions with followers as well. So when we look at the personality characteristics, if we look at those very quickly, and these are those sort of dominant type things, the things that come naturally. I think you will always have somebody who is a strong role model. So if we go back to our picture here of that man, what has he given the world? What has he given the world? And it's well worth following his blog and his articles. They're very interesting. What has he given the world other than simply businesses that he's built? For me, Virgin Active. We would hope it's a lot more than Virgin Active, Johnson. Yeah, it's inspiration. Um, yeah, I think for me, it's the power of self-belief, of believing in your own abilities, the power of understanding your place in the world and what you can do from an inspirational perspective. I think it is somebody who people will look up to, and he has left an indelible impression on the planet. And what happens is that people will follow. I think when you listen to people who work for Virgin, who work closely to him, I mean, they're very happy to model his behavior. And then just other stuff there, being competent, having a clear vision, also expecting a lot from people. These are individuals that set high goals for their followers. Their high goals for their followers. And then also just this ability to show self belief, but also belief in other individuals. And that creates significant energy and also this kind of trust. And remember, we spoke about how difficult trust is to engender. And you can see the knock on effect in terms of each of those behaviors. I think for me, It is this ability to get people to behave in a way that normally they wouldn't have been able to even consider behaving in that way, also that they couldn't ever consider to achieve as much as they have. The second one is when we look at attribution, it tries to figure out why people behave in a certain way, why people take decisions in a certain way. We try and figure out why the reasons are for the kinds of comments that they made. So, in terms of charisma, I think often it is us looking at this person and expecting certain words and expecting certain behaviors. In terms of Richard Branson, he attempted the he attempted to drive a car over the English Channel, or he did. He flew a hot air balloon. I mean, he does the most insane stunts when launching new new divisions. So there's this belief that this is what we expect from him. So, in terms of the kinds of things that will suggest charismatic leadership, always a very clear vision, and then the unconventional ways. I don't know if anyone has seen some of Richard Branson. My worry is in the search, I just have to be a little bit careful. I've got to be super careful here because publicity stunts. Oh, gosh, please hope that it's not going to show the bad one. So this is, yeah, the stuff that he's done. I that one I didn't want to, sorry about that one. I mean, it is the most ridiculous stuff. Yeah, this is him driving across the English Channel. Absolutely, absolutely amazing man. I mean, Dieter Von Teese, and then also around the world in a hot air balloon. Also got into the first Virgin Galactic flight. And yeah, my favorite, driving a tank down Fifth Avenue. I mean, this is insane. We don't need to see that. Oh gosh, the stuff that this guy has done. Yeah, jumping off off one of the casinos in Vegas. You just, there's so much that this guy has done, guys. Yeah, I don't know if the nudity is going to show. No, it doesn't. I mean, this is all stuff set up as stunts. Um, just a different human being. So when we look at, where is that there? So when we look at unconventional behaviors, oh my goodness me, he is unconventional. The stuff that he will do, the stunts that he will pull to attract attention to his stuff, absolutely, absolutely astonishing. And then, in terms of what they do to followers, I think they allow followers to identify with him. They allow followers to identify with what the organization wants to achieve. But also, it's this buy in to whatever you do for Virgin, to do it at your best ability, and the kind of knock-on effects. The first one is that people start believing that they make a valuable contribution to the world. They also believe that they are part of this particular vision. So they believe that they have a role to play in giving life to this vision. And then the key one for me, this deep collective identity. It is this aspirational thing to call yourself a virgin employee, and then this belief in collective self-efficacy. What does the term self-efficacy mean? We've done this before. Anyone without cheating, remember what self-efficacy is? No, it's a bit more than that, Boya. It's a little bit more than that. It precedes that, Tariq. It precedes that. It's a belief in your own abilities. It is a belief in your own abilities. I had a class today that I did motivation with, and it's not the best question to ask a class because yeah, some of the answers were a little bit strange. And also, you guys are so incredibly young that this question might not even apply to you. Anyone on this call do math lit when they pass matric? Anyone do math lit? Everyone here do math core, math lit, Bianca? Okay. Anyone else? Thanks for being honest, Bianca. Anyone else that did math lit? So every single person here did math core. Tando also math lit. Okay. Typing. Yeah, well, we've got worst names. My kids have worst names for that, but yeah. Entry math light. You did typing instead of maths, Cindy. Oh dear. Tough that thing, sin cost. Yeah. Old school, yeah, no. We had higher grade and standard grade math back in my day, and I'll admit to doing higher grade. But um, one of the things that we see in terms of math lit is, and I blame the teachers for this, and Bianca can bear me out, is first of all, teachers want a full pass rate, so they will do anything to get kids off math core, even if there's the slightest chance that they'll fail. And often people in math lit convince themselves that they cannot do math. They believe no matter how hard they work, no matter how hard they try, that there is no chance that they are going to pass this math. Well, they do. I mean, you destroy yourself. Bianca, is that a fair comment? Well, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. And that is the opposite. Yeah, you see, I sit with this with science as well. Rob's no man, I've never which science do they do? Is there now a science lower grade as well? Oh sheesh, I hope not, because my baby matriculated last year and I didn't see anything at Maritzburg College. Oh geez. Yeah. And I also see people try and physics lit. Oh my vernuftig. Yeah. Well, it's yeah. You see, and the problem in South Africa is we keep hearing how we're attempting to get those STEM subjects, better marks, etc. Bianx, okay. You see, I'm this. I suppose I'm very fortunate. Um, yeah, my kids can do math. Um, you know, um, medical lit. Yeah, we mustn't underestimate what AI will do in medicine in the future. Um, medical lit. Well, Cindy, you know that your doctor only has to get 50% to be able to see you. I'm very selective of the doctors I go to be honest with you. But we're very fortunate. My boys can do math. My oldest son was top in math and science in Maritzburg College, and he's here. And he only had 97% for math core. Couldn't believe that he couldn't find the extra 3%. But all my kids had 80s plus for math core. So we were very, very fortunate. But I think with math lit, as Bianca said there, people convince themselves that they cannot do math, and that's the opposite of self-efficacy. So self-efficacy is the belief in your own abilities. Collective self-efficacy is a belief that this team can achieve anything we put our mind to. Well, Muzamil, can I be honest with you? In terms of antibiotics, so many of the viruses evolve. I don't know whether it's a virus or the bacteria evolve so quickly that the antibiotics don't really work anymore. So it's going to be quite interesting into the future, in particular with global warming or climate change, how that is going to be impacting antibiotics. So in terms of charismatic leadership, I think here you how do you not opt for math at all, Bianx? You see, I didn't
So,
know that. Yeah, go for it.
so it's the same as a dyslexic test, but apparently it's just for maths. I don't know. We had it at our high school, and some people, if they tested positive for having this thing, they didn't have to take maths at all.
So it's a dumbass test.
Yes.
Sorry, my 18-year-old is like looking at me thinking, Dad, dyscalculia. Is that serious? Dyscalculia. Oh my gosh, Bianx.
So
Muslim will go for it.
so apparently you get dyslexic and then you get dyscalculia. Apparently if you have
Okay.
dyscalculia, then you can't put simple numbers together. So a calculation like 15 times 3, like for us that's simple, that's 45. But for someone else it'll be like we need a calculator. So that's dyscalculia apparently.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, my wife and I went to some comedy show, and the comedy show, I think it was like 120 Rand for the two of us. And I gave someone 200 Rand, and she took out her calculator to go 120 or 200 minus 120. She couldn't tell us that the change was 70 Rand. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Can I just say I can do math, guys? Okay. Dyscalculia. Which school were you at? Thanks for that, Ms. Mill. Were you using a calculator? Bianca, which school was that?
It was in
Yes.
Kempton Park. It was Jeugland.
Yeah. Would you say that again?
Jeugland.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Don't just
Yeah.
Jeugland or
Yeah.
Jeugland. Oh, Jeugland.
Jeugland. Yeah.
Oh, for people who don't understand, it is youth land. Um, I think that's the best translation there is. Yeah, dyscalculia. I didn't know that, and I'm being honest with you, I hadn't seen that term before. So, in terms of charismatic leadership, I think the first one is that we now, once you've had interactions with a charismatic leader, what will often happen is that your whole social identity, your own value system, starts to take on the form of that the charismatic leader was trying to communicate. So that internalization is that embracing of we part of this team together. And then just also, I think there's always this ability to link your own beliefs with the vision of the leader. Just be very, very careful, guys. When it comes to ideologies, we know that there is a real dark side to charismatic leadership. Um, Calcula. Oh, thank you so much. You did that there. Oh, brilliant. Well, I did not know that. Okay. Wow. Wow. Very, very, very cool. That's awful, actually. That's absolutely awful. Okay, guys, what is the dark side of charismatic leadership? I mean, I have shared this with you guys. I'm sure I have. Um, oh gosh, please tell me that I have. Anyone remember this one? Have I shared this with you? Ah, yeah, well, exactly. But it's these charismatic leaders. Charismatic, damn it. These charismatic pastors and in these charismatic, oh, I did show you this stuff before, where this guy, yeah, breathes the breath of God and heals people. Um, yeah, yeah, there are a couple of those guys. So I did, yeah, passing rattlesnakes around. I have such, oh gosh, I mean, this is insane. Muzamil, what is that about? Can I type it in? Is it safe to put it in here? Oh gosh, Muzamil, if I get fired after this, I mean, it's going to be on you, boy. Oh no, not safe. Okay. Okay, then I'm not going to do it. Yeah, well, it is. I mean, someone like Jacob Zuma is immensely charismatic. I mean, honestly, the kind of support he has in KwaZulu-Natal is ridiculous. You know, now again, I don't find him, I can't stand the individual. So for me, I don't consider him to be a leader's, yeah, passing win. But he is very popular in KwaZulu-Natal. I mean, the other one, this is another one where the power is so, yeah, this is it. Yeah, and makes people drink petrol, guys. Absolutely, Tariq. This is the guy. Oh my gosh, this was freaking insane, guys. Yeah, made people drink petrol. They were fine until they ran out of petrol. No, that's rude. I shouldn't joke about this. Telling people to drink petrol because it is a message from above. This is the grass eating one. I can't. 95. um, I'm so sorry. Oh, here is the idiot, guys. Um, makes people eat grass. And this is, yeah, sorry. I'm not a very religious person, but I remember reading this. No combustion. Any comments on this? Is this charisma gone wrong? So who here is quite religious? Who is religious? I mean, they're cults. Bianx, 100%. These are cults. They are cults. Um, well, you need massive charisma to start a cult. I mean, yeah, go for it, Justine. I don't know if anyone remembers him. Go for it, Justine. Anyone remember this? This is a bit before your time. You guys are incredibly young. 1993, most of you wouldn't even have been born. Did anyone see the insert on this, the documentary on this? Um, yeah, well worth finding this. Again, incredibly charismatic. Yeah, it is awful, absolutely awful, the stuff that he did and got away with. The Davidians, named the cult after him. Guys, you have to watch this if you want to see. Well, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. And parents had to watch their children die. Rob's, it was awful, and it was an absolute awful, awful death. Yeah. I think be very, very careful of the dark side of charisma. And often it is the thing that creates this cult thing. Oh, Heaven's Gate was insane. Absolutely was insane as well. I was insane, sorry, was insane. Um, yeah, yeah, I'm not going to comment because I once said that one of the churches in our area is a cult. And, and one of the students got upset at me for saying that, that they have cult-like behavior. I'm sorry, I mean, yeah, some of the stuff they make their followers do, I have a real issue with that. So I'm just going to jump ahead into change leadership because I'd love to finish this learning unit. It's taking forever, but I know that I'm not going to rush through it. I think change leadership, I I find it astonishing, and I'm also getting a little bit tired of how often things change in organizations. I tend to believe that I will never ever have a stable job where I can predict what will happen next month and next year. The truth is, there are so many new ideas and directions and changes that you get to a point where, and I'm not allowed to say fatful on here, and if you don't understand the term, you can search for it, so I won't say, but I get a little bit fatful. Again, I'm not allowed to say that word, so I won't, with all the changes. It's just too much, guys. Anyone else feel like that in terms of their job? You're very lucky because every time I think there is some stability, there is something new. Every time I think I know something, there is something new. And like those go, I can't do this anymore. I really can't do this anymore. Now I'm 3 years away from retirement and have no intention, obviously, of retiring. I'll carry on for a while longer, but from retirement age at least. And you sometimes think maybe I should just call it quits because seriously, some of the insanity that we observe and some of this, oh my gosh, here we go again. You get to the point where you think this is not what I want to do anymore. I think everyone goes through this. Now I won't retire, and don't worry about that. I still have a child that goes to university next year. So just, I've got a while still for me to work. So, in terms of the way we can manage change, and again, it's also some of the combinations of how things change. Well, they are. I mean, the most insane thing I saw today was that Russia had flown, I think, 15 drones, and please don't quote me on the number of drones into Poland. And obviously, NATO then activated their jets to shoot these drones down. This is for me, that is provocative. I don't know if anyone saw that news. Russian and drones into Poland. This thing irritates me. No, Robin, what? Um, no, I can't remember. Robs, tell me what it is.
There was protesting, and they ended up burning the Prime Minister's house down and burning his
Oh,
wife alive, and she passed away yesterday morning. And then there were videos of the Prime Minister getting beaten.
oh my word. No, I missed that. Oh my gosh. Oh my word. No, I didn't see that. I definitely missed that. Look at this, guys. This is provocative in the extreme. Oh, I can't, you know, I can't remember, guys. I can't even remember. But remember, they're a member of NATO, and an attack on one is an attack on all. I don't know what Putin is thinking. I think he is pushing for, I don't know, whether it is World War III. I don't know what this man is planning. Yeah, I don't know how many drones were shot down. I mean, imagine one of the NATO people send drones into Russia. What would happen? I mean, this is insane. Yeah, and I mean the other stuff. I look at South African news sometimes and I shake my head. Yeah, but this is provocative. This is looking to cause trouble. Um, and yeah, thank goodness that the response was quick. But it's not, it's the start of something else, guys. I don't believe it's the end of something. I believe it's the start of something. I, yeah, it is, yeah, it is concerning. And then you add in, what AI is doing to jobs and taking jobs away. And life is interesting, to just say that. So, in terms of how we manage change, so the first one is the kind of change outcomes that we want to achieve. So, the intended ones are often those that we preempt. These are part of your strategic plan, it's part of your strategizing, it's part of your scenario creation. Um, and then the partially intended are those that we don't actually know whether this is going to be a complete change or we might need to do a little bit more. And the unintended is when it is pure fluke, where something happened and you needed to act really, really rapidly. So when we look at those together, and it often has to do with resistance to change. I think, first of all, from a director's perspective, that here not everyone's on board in terms of the change. Remember, in terms of any change effort, what normally happens, and it's a bit of a silly comparison, but bringing change to an organization is like the start of a marathon. Anyone who's ever watched the Comrades Marathon start, you will always have those individuals that start running far ahead, and then the masses will catch up. In any change effort, it definitely mirrors that kind of start to a marathon. So often, what will happen is that not everyone would buy into it, and you might need additional motivation. Yeah, in terms of the navigator, I think here it's because there are these different interests in the organization. I think when we look at different functional areas, each functional area has its own intentions. I mean, just in terms of silly things like research and development versus marketing. Research and development from a time frame perspective will work 10, 20, 30 years into the future with technology. Marketing would want something today that they can sell. Yeah, caretaker. The resistance is short-lived, but I think will generally occur. It's something that has to happen. Get on board, or yeah, get out. And I hate that term. And then coach. I think here is that getting people to understand, by resisting, you're not helping the team, and by not helping the team, again, we're putting the organization at risk. Interpreter, I think most change is misunderstood. To be honest with you, yeah, today I received a couple of emails and I just thought to myself, I don't get this anymore. My brain can't process this. And then nurturer, I think you will have the change, and then I think whatever happens, just get everyone on board. In terms of the different types of organizational change, again, there are different ways of looking at this. So the incremental change, what is the Japanese term for incremental change? We've done this before. What is the Japanese term for ongoing small changes? Remember, it's Kaizen, spot on. It's the Kaizen change. So in terms of Kaizen, it often is the tuning thing. And you'll find that every single person and every team in manufacturing organizations will always have some sort of Kaizen targets. And it's because we know that we have to adjust to the future, but we want to make the adjustments in advance. The reactive one is when your competitor has done something and you now have to adapt. Or all of a sudden, one of your components can't, your supplier can't provide you with one of your components and you would have to adapt. Strategic change is, in terms of anticipation, is reorientation. So Varsity College is going through significant reorientation at the moment. They're now registering as a university. There is so much happening, so many meetings. I believe that of next week, Tuesday, there will be a complete rebrand of Varsity College. And every piece of paper, every piece of font, every bit will be rebranded into this new standard. We will be getting a new name. I have no idea what the name is. Also, I wish I could tell you that I really care what the name will be. But yeah, some of my colleagues are so excited and so interested, and I'm thinking, who cares, whatever they call us. And then just reactive, yeah. So here you have essentially completely lost the plot. I mean, this is a stupid example. Kodak launching their own Bitcoin or their own cryptocurrency because they just got completely left behind by cell phone technology. So in terms of tuning, yeah, I think we know that there are changes and it's always about efficiencies. Reorientation, I think here we know that what we do now is not going to work in the future. So we've seen that all the German auto manufacturers have decided to take China on at their own game, in particular with BYD. So they all have this significant push to making their electric vehicles more affordable. And it could at some point break from the past, but it at least will start with going hybrid. But I think there is a definite push towards electric vehicles, and it's the German brands have got together, made that decision. And then recreation, yeah, I think things changed. And just remember when COVID happened, I think that is the kind of stuff that we look at here. And I think the adaptation, I think it's small adjustments, but your current business model, your current thinking stays in place. Yeah. So in terms of my marathon comparison, I think when there is a change, there's certain things that occur. The first one is get everyone in line with whatever the new direction is. Get people to adopt those new behaviors. And remember, some people will be quicker than others, the marathon comparison, and then introduce the new culture. So I am going to be very interested in seeing what happens next week, Tuesday, with Varsity College, what the new brand is, what the new title is, and how quickly we are going to update our letterheads, etc. I think this is a massive undertaking, and it's going to be very interesting to see how long it takes to get to that point. I mean, just for me to stop saying Varsity College, guys, how am I going to get that into my brain? Because I will not be allowed to say it as of next week. I'm not even sure what I'm going to do. It's yeah. Anyone can make suggestions in terms of what I can do for next week. I really am uncertain how to deal with it. So when we look at what makes a good change leader, yeah, always going to be creative. Yeah, it's the ability to look at the world afresh. There will be teams involved. I think you want people to work in teams and convince each other. Really good listener. I saw today that the CEO of Varsity College had a meeting with all the full-time staff. They were allowed to submit questions about the new university and the new structure and the changes. And she took every single question from across the country and turned it into a presentation and answered every single one of those questions. I wasn't at the meeting because I'm not full-time staff, but I believe that it was very, very impressive. Also, coaching skills, because you have to show people the new behaviors, the new expectations in terms of what this company will stand for. And then also a sense of accountability, because when things go wrong, these are individuals that don't hide behind the building and blame others. They take the actual blame. And then this real appreciation for others. I believe that there are, yeah, quite a few celebrations happening for the full-time staff next Tuesday. Again, guys, I think everyone here is aware that I'm an independent contractor with Varsity College. So in terms of the transition curve of individuals and why change is so difficult, the first one is the shock. Give me examples in your own organization where a change happened and you went, oh my word, I'm in trouble. You're not even in trouble where this was this like, oh gosh, this is not real. Anyone want to suggest how and when that happened in your own organization? Guys, can I just say, when you decide to move out on your own, the moment you've now told yourself you're moving out on your own and you walk into your new place alone, I promise you there will be shock. The decision will go hand in hand with shock. For us, it was when COVID hit. I mean, all of a sudden, we had to transition all our face-to-face classes to online. Oh my word, Robs. Oh my word. Yeah, that is insane. I mean, that is not an overnight job. Then it's very similar to the process of grief. There is denial, the sort of, it's not real. And it sits a bit like a monkey on your shoulder because you still think everything's okay and nothing's going to happen. I think for a lot of people, in particular with technology, there is this all of a sudden awareness that, oh my goodness me, I don't have the skill set to do this. When we went from face to face to, remember at that point, I'd never lectured online. Oh my gosh, I found out very quickly how very little I knew about VC Learn and teaching online. Then there's the moment of acceptance, and then you start testing your new skills, and then you start finding a reason why you want to be in this organization. And I mean, obviously, lastly, it then is this new organization and everything is fine. I am going to be again very interested in seeing what happens on Tuesday and Wednesday. I've stayed away from it because, again, I'm a contractor, so I shouldn't really care too much about it. But that is the process we go through. Yeah, I'm not going to go through all of these. The shock that we might not cope, the denial, it's not going to be that bad. The awareness, oh my gosh, I don't have the skill set to do this. The acceptance when you go, well, the change is here, I have to live with it. The testing, and here often we look at what can we get away with, what do we need in terms of behavior, and then finding meaning. And then lastly, yeah, it really is where the point where you feel competent enough to do your thing. So one of the models that people suggest that we use during any change effort is Kotter's eight-step model. Now, each of these fundamental errors here translates into, and I'm going to rather discuss it into here. So the Kotter model, Kotter says that whenever an organization needs to change, and the change is one that will ensure its future survival, there are a couple of steps that you have to go through. So in order to overcome complacency, you need to establish a sense of urgency. Has anyone's doctor ever told them, you need to stop doing this, otherwise you will die young? My father-in-law was told by his doctor, if he didn't stop smoking, he would be dead in 6 months. You don't need anything more than that to create a sense of urgency. Now, how do we mirror that? Stop smoking or you'll be dead in 6 months. It's not very easy to do, but it's that kind of prompt that we need in order to overcome complacency in organizations is, if we don't do this, we will not have an organization in a year's time. That kind of prompting is needed. Guys, I'm going to rush it. I'm not going to try and rush through it. Let me start with this. I'll start with this one next week. I just want to get through this, so because we've got quite a bit still to do. Thank you so much for attending. I'll see some of you in literally 30 minutes. Remember, South Africa plays England in a T20. Cheerson plays England in a T20 just now. So enjoy the cricket if you're a cricket follower. Otherwise, guys, please take care. Cheers, cheers all.